Live from the studio.
I'm Jimmy Selesky.
Merrick Glazer. Tonight on the podcast, we have fresh off of his run at the Fells Point Theater, comedian, director, actor, extraordinaire, Michael Furr.
What's up? I'm all of those things, especially extraordinaire.
Yeah.
Wait, is the run over?
Yeah, tonight was the last night. We did 7 shows.
Dude.
That was a real knee puncher.
Yeah, it was a real gut punch, but it was really good. It was a really successful run.
So you guys did last weekend and then this weekend.
Yeah, it was a 2-week run. Yeah, we did Thursday through Sunday and then Friday through Sunday.
And you wrote and directed everything?
Yep. Yeah.
Well, that's the thing I was confused about because I wanted to go see it today, but I had to do the podcast here, so I kind of regret. I'm sad to hear that it's done. But it's like an improv play?
Yeah, so I've done a couple of them, and so basically, like, we come up with characters, and we kind of set, like, a structure for, like, the flow of the show. Like, this is going to happen, and then you guys will meet up and talk about this, and then this thing. But all the details are made up. Like, all the actual conversations are improv on the spot, and all the interactions they have. And it's different people and playing different characters, like, throughout the run, so you're interacting with different people. And then we also get inputs from the audience on certain points, like things that we'll use throughout the show, like details that we use. And then we also have music. This one had music because it was a holiday show, so we had Christmas music, but we made up all the lyrics, like improv'd all the songs. We came up with like the title of them, which would usually be the chorus. Like we'd change it, like it's beginning to sound like Christmas became it's beginning to sound a lot like murder.
Nice.
And then they just make up all the verses in the bridge, but they sing that as the chorus.
What's the name of the play?
It was called Santa Claus Must Die, and it was about all of the holidays who hate Santa Claus teaming up to murder him.
Dope, dude.
And trying to pin it on all the loser holidays, all the lame-ass holidays like Talk Like a Pirate Day, Canada Day, and Casual Friday.
Casual Friday.
Yeah.
A weekly holiday.
Yeah. And 420. 420 was one of the losers. He lives in his grandmother's basement.
First day of college.
Yeah, first day of school. Yeah, was one of them. And May the 4th be with you was one of them one night.
Ooh, a classic nerd holiday.
Nerd holiday. So they take him to this party where Santa's going to be, and they try to pin this murder on them. But then through the love of Christmas, they don't go through with it. So the devil just comes and takes him to hell because Santa's a bastard.
Did you guys have Cinco de Mayo?
Yeah, Cinco de Mayo. Cinco de Mayo was referenced very heavily because 4th of July was one of the main characters, and she was this like real aggro, pro-America. She drives a NASCAR driven by 1,800 red, white, and blue bald eagles. And, she only eats mayonnaise, and she always has a gun on her. Like she literally in every scene has a different gun on her. So she was always talking about getting wasted with Cinco de Mayo, even though they weren't in the show. She was part of the legend of the show, you know.
Part of the overworld.
Yeah, and the general, yeah, because I mean, they talked about throughout the whole run of the show, they talked about dozens of like other holidays. Scott Cease as New Year's Eve.
That's a good one.
Played this really bro-y like New Year's Eve, and he was talking about how he had a threesome with Happy Honda Days and Daylight Savings.
Daylight savings time. Total slut.
It's so good. And it is canon that New Year's Eve is a sexual maniac, apparently. And then we also had a woman named Maddie Rogers playing New Year's Day, who was just like a hungover, disgusting mess with one shoe on, who cries a lot and can't find her phone and doesn't remember who she slept with. So it was a lot of fun. But like they're improv performers, so they just make it up each time. So it's a little different each time.
That's what I was gonna say. It sounds like no play is the same.
Yeah, it's never the same, and it's different people, and it's just. I mean, some things they
you
found
said
that
even
worked.
some of the actors switched up.
Yeah, a lot of characters played
like,
2 holidays
yeah.
different. Like they'd be one of the cool kids one day and one of the losers one day. And some nights people weren't available, so we had to opt. Like the guy played the devil. Sometimes we would just do a demonically possessed Rudolph. We had a very PTSD Rudolph. She was very tortured by her childhood, being bullied.
How many people were involved? Like
altogether, I think it was 15, 14 or 15.
there are a lot of names on that
each
poster.
night, yeah, I mean, there was actually 2 people on the poster who ended up not being able to do it at the last second. But I
damn.
mean, each night it would be between 8 and 12 because it was broken up into different ensemble groups. It was very like just ensemble based. So it'd just be like this group does a thing, and then this group does a thing, and then they all meet up at the end. And so sometimes there'd be like at the end for like the closing number, like 12 people on stage, like all singing about killing Santa.
That's awesome.
It was
a
really
big
fun.
stage though. Like it fit that amount of people.
Yeah, it was at the Fells Point Corner Theater where I'm the director of special events there, and we put on these improv shows as special events because it's a traditional theater. They have like a regular season of shows. Charlie's Aunt is about to open there. They just said Stick Fly. They do Jerusalem.
Wow.
It's like a real theater, but it's a not-for-profit theater. So we run these special event shows where we can utilize some of that money to actually repair the building. We have to build a new roof. We needed a boiler, all that kind of stuff. So I do these like improv special events. We're doing a musical weekend next year. I'm doing another one of these improv plays in the spring. We're going to do like a fundraiser night, like all these things to actually fund this small theater that really can't make the money in its regular season.
Was this your first play that you've written and directed and aired?
No, I did.
I
I did one that we called the Late Night Double Feature Improv Show, but it was a horror movie, and it was the 1960s version and then the reboot in the 2018 version. So it was like two horror movies that were like the same, and we'd like from the audience we'd find out who the ghost was in the house and how they died, and then all these different ways, and then everybody gets murdered at the end, and it was really good, and it was a lot of the same cast members like came back to do it, and it had like special effects and things floating and flying and falling and stuff. So it was really cool. And then the next one we're doing in the spring is a sci-fi one, like 1950s, like body snatchers kind of thing.
Ooh, that sounds
People
fun.
will be getting snatched by aliens.
And you're the events so you're like pretty much the head, not the head honcho, but like you're in charge of. Are you in charge of organizing what like big time shows are coming in there as well?
No, so I will be. So I'm currently the interim special events director because we haven't reached the end of our season where we can vote on stuff like that. Mm-hmm. But I am a part of the board of directors at Falls Point Corner Theater. So they have a panel that picks like the show season every year. So I'll be involved in that when I'm with them long enough for them to do it again. But also too, I really got brought on by doing the first improv play that I had done there. And they were like, wow, this is a great way to have like super low overhead, have willing, able performers, and put on a show for a couple of weeks that doesn't have to be as planned out as a real run that has producers and directors and a script and very specific set requirements and stuff. This is like, oh, whatever it is, we'll just make it work. It's improv. Yeah. We'll just fucking figure it out. Just make it whatever that time of year it is. Just make it the right type of show to have at that time of year. So that's so they needed a special events director because they're switching up all the everybody's getting voted on right now. So they set me in there. So it's good. So I'm helping do that, and I'm going to also help them produce some of their other shows, and I'm going to be directing. We're going to do like 'Twas Night Before Christmas, and
dude, that's freaking awesome.
Yeah, it's been really good. It's been all that weird random stuff I'd never thought I would do. Like, what'd you just do? I just directed a musical. Wait, what? Is that right?
So you never had any aspirations of that whatsoever?
I'm a director. As an improv coach, like I'm basically just a director. Like people always say, like, oh, you're an improv teacher, and I'm actually not an improv teacher. I do sometimes teach improv, but my main job is an improv coach. I don't teach people the skills of improv from the ground up and teach them how to be good improvisers. I prep troops to do really good shows every week or month. It's like you already know how to do improv. We're here to like come up with a signature thing for you so that you can put on really funny shows and have a great time and be the best you can be. And yeah, we're going to learn some stuff along the way. But I'm not like you're not like taking a class to like have me teach you how to do improv and then you graduate or anything.
Yeah,
so
just I basically put some blinders on them, get them in the right direction.
Exactly. Yeah, and I just direct shows and a troupe of actors, which is all I did. It was a bigger deal. It just had costumes and music and sounds and stuff.
That's super fucking
Which honestly, if improv had kind of like I don't know. I think one of the things that like puts me off about improv too is like everyone's just in fucking like jeans and a shirt, and I'm like, you're not Santa Claus. But if the dude's wearing a Santa Claus outfit, and then they have like some other stuff that's like not up to par, I'm like, all right, this guy's in a Santa Claus outfit.
Yeah.
It's way more believable.
I at least can see it.
Yeah.
I do like a lightly scripted talk show every month called Chit Chat, where it's improv and we make it up, but we know what's going to happen in the show.
Yeah.
We just don't know how we're going to react to it and what we're going to say about it and how we're going to do it.
When do you do that and where?
I do it once a month. So the next one will actually be on my birthday on December 8th at Charm City Comedy Project in Hamden. We've done them there for over 2 years. We just do once a month as a live show. We stream them on Facebook too. We actually have a very large international following in West Africa.
Hell yeah.
Really? Huge improv fans are there.
Yeah, they love Chit Chat. I think they think we're making fun of Americans or gay people. I think but it's funny. It's like a fake morning talk show, and I play Chester St. Christopher, and he's this like flaming in the closet gay Southern man. Then my co-host is Chippy Cohn, who's this really neurotic Jew from upstate New York. And we just have other improvers come on as characters, and we interview them like they're like, "Oh, you're on a book tour. Or you were separated." Like Ian Saliers was on with this other guy, and they played twins who were separated at birth. They're like nothing alike.
Yeah,
and they wrote a book about it. So we like tell them, we're like, okay, so that's what the guest is, and then we just bring them on and we just ask them questions as those characters. And they react, and we just have a funny scene. And we're like really bad at our jobs, and it's like a terrible talk show. And everybody hates us, and we're always reading horrible fan mail about people wanting to kill us and stuff. But my character's like too dumb to get it. And then like, do you know Kathy Carson? Remember Kathy Carson?
Yeah.
So she's a great comedian and actress and stuff. So she played my ex-wife, who I always talked about on the show. That's like my terrible ex-wife, Diane. And then she showed up with my adult son that I didn't know I had because we got drunk and fucked one time. And apparently I knocked her up. So she shows up with my dumb, unemployable son. And, you know, Kathy moved to Colorado, but now he's on all the episodes and he does like this little entertainment report. He's like a fucking idiot. He's like a dumb, like country bumpkin. He's just like living off my money.
You gotta start fucking pandering.
But it's so fun. Yeah, but it's the same kind of thing where we just like improv. We know what we're gonna do, but we just make it up. But we wear costumes and stuff.
You gotta start fucking pandering to that West African
it's
crowd,
so,
dude.
Yeah, it's so weird. I'm like, there must be another show called Chit Chat
The
that
big
they're
snake
thinking is.
came into town today.
Well, they'll ask us questions like as if we're a real talk show. Like they'll be like, "My wife is." I don't want to do an accent. That's wrong. They'll be like, "My wife is cheating on me. Like, what should I do? Should I tell her I know?" And I'm like, I'm not responding. And my co-host will be like, "Yeah, you should try to work it out." Like, I'm not responsible for anything that happens here. I'm washing my hands of this. This is a comedy show. It's a character.
They just completely misconceived the whole.
I know. I'm like, do you really think this is?
They're like
real?
looking for the book that Ian wrote.
Well, it's funny because like my character, like he used to be a dog groomer, so he talks about he was a competitive dog groomer. So I just always talk about all these dogs that I've lost throughout the years, like all these dead dogs, like Snickerdoodle and Samson or whatever, you know. And I'm like, you think this is real? Like you think these are legitimate people? But yeah, we have like over 1,000 Facebook likes from like West Africa, so that's strange.
Chit Chat. So there's
Chit Chat.
that's another one that people always say like, dude, I can't believe you guys got live from the studio as a name. Chit Chat. That's an impressive. You just have that.
Yeah.
You just have that.
Yeah, and hopefully whatever West African people also have that they think we are not litigious or trademarked.
Lawyer up, West Africa.
But we'll put a hyphen in there and then we'll be fine. And then it'll be different.
Exclamation point at the end.
But it's great. Like pretty much all the comedians we know who have done improv have like been on as guests.
Nice.
You know, like they all come on and do a character, and we get like people who are in town just for one night who do improv and stuff come on and just, you know, are the guests that night. I don't know what we're doing for this one for my birthday, but probably do our Christmas show.
Nice.
And Cole Grinnell, I don't know if you know him. He's a improv guy.
I do.
He does Civil War and Revolutionary War reenactment, so sometimes he's in Revolutionary War garb.
Wait, in the show or
No,
in
that's
real
his
life?
like job. That's like his real life. So he'll just go to the show and he'd be like, I'm still dressed up like a British soldier.
Dude, those guys are intense.
Yeah,
They kind of freak me out, to be honest.
Well, but he's like super like a doof. I mean, no, he's not a doof. He's like a smart guy, but he's like very like relatable and like personable. And he plays our producer on the show who like just hates us and is just constantly just like talking shit about us during the show and just talking about what awful stupid people we are, and it's really good. And we like know nothing. It's like been our 13th season, we say, but like we know nothing about him. And we outed him. He was apparently wanted by the Laotian mafia, and like he was using a fake name, and we gave his real name. So now Jordan Levine played his son, who's been living in Canada under witness protection, and we brought him to reunite them. And he's like, he's in witness protection. They're going to kill him, and they get killed by Laotians. He gets killed by a Laotian spy. So Jordan Levine was his son and is now dead.
Oh no! You killed off Jordan.
Rip, dude.
But he was so great. He was Canadian, but like he just played it as Jordan. He was just like, I love accents. Timber is pretty great. You know, if you like that sort of thing.
Timber? I like skating around on pans with butter skates or whatever. Like a big blue ox and
Curling.
Let's go Canucks.
Yeah.
Anything about Canada?
Awesome, dude.
Yeah.
Well, what do you have in the works? I know you said you have something next year.
Yeah, so we're doing
Talk
another
about
one
that.
of these next year. We're doing another improv play in May.
What's that going to be?
It's gonna be sci-fi.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
gonna be body snatchers, and it's gonna be kind of like the game is that only the person each night who is body snatched is gonna know it.
Okay.
So even the rest of the cast won't know it.
Ooh.
And then it'll all come down to, probably like gun with one bullet in it, and somebody has to decide if they think they know who the alien is. It'll be like Secret Hitler, but like,
yeah.
in the 50s and also like on stage and funny.
Hell yeah.
So that's kind of the theme for the next one. But I'm doing a bunch of stuff there between now and then. We're doing, producing a whole bunch of like special events and shows and stuff there. I'm gonna record my next comedy special there.
Really?
Yeah, Eric and I were talking about that recently
Yeah.
because ATB Productions will be handling that. But we're gonna do that again next year.
Dude, get you on sound again.
Hell yeah, dude.
man.
Don't play top 40 tunes.
Yeah, that we're gonna have to edit out.
I can't.
I was like, I love this song. Oh no, we'll go
Yeah,
soon.
yeah.
We'll get so hard. Yeah.
No sweet dreams are made of me. Can't have that one in there.
Lady Gaga's got that Bradley Cooper confidence now to fucking sue us.
Yeah, exactly. She's got
Like
Bradley Cooper's
one
lawyer
tiny
now.
little note.
Yeah, no. But yeah,
I hit that note and a star is born.
But yeah, we were talking about doing another one because I'm not getting any younger.
Yeah.
And also, I'm going to turn 40 next year, so I'm going to do a whole special just about turning 40. Because I did a special about being a gay comedian, and I just want to do a special about being about to turn 40.
Yeah.
Keep
That's
it
good.
themed. Yeah, I think it's a good idea. I have an hour material about it, so I'm going to do it.
I like that you have themed specials.
Yeah, why
I think
not?
that's very, very playish of you.
I like to theme my sets. Like I usually do a consistently, like if I'm doing like time, like actual time.
Yeah.
I'll at least try to have like callbacks and stuff because that's just my like writer improv.
And it's
nature.
easier to market that stuff too. Like
Yeah.
you have an entire special. The first one is
More like
in-
concise.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, like it's a special about being a gay comedian and being gay in 2018, and it's like if that's in any way interested to you, it's kind of the only one. Like in a lot of ways, like there's not, especially men. There's not a lot of gay comedians out there who put stuff out there. I mean, luckily I don't. Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, I don't have any distribution or anything, so it's not like I'm on the same channels as them. But
I was gonna ask
if you seek it out,
how are you faring as far as like pushing that special? How's that going?
it's been good. Yeah, I mean, like there were I still haven't ever done like an official press release, but from just the like 2 reviews that I've had, like not reviews on Amazon, but like 2 people who professionally reviewed it. I mean, they both had big spikes in sales, and I just got paid out for the first time. You get paid quarterly. So I just got my first payout from them, which was decent. And yeah, I mean, you can see the metrics all the time, and you can see who's watching it and who's not. A lot of people will start to watch it and not finish, but that's okay. They paid for it first. Like there's like sometimes you're like, somebody only watched 8 minutes. Okay, well, you still paid for the whole thing, so that's fine. Maybe you're going to come back to it. But it's just nice because, like, still people all the time who I know through 1 or 2 degrees of separation are just finding out about it. And usually if people tell someone, like, I do get, like, a little tiny spike of, like, oh, then 2 other people watch it, and then 2 more, and then another, and then, like, oh, I can see these people probably all told each other or whatever. But it's nice. It's still got 5 out of 5 star review on Amazon Prime. So.
Oh yeah, I saw you're next to the Man in High Castle.
Well, if you search my name, it comes up as I'm also somehow in Man in the High Castle, or I'm a producer there.
Did some punch up on that, I guess.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah, it was really good. I haven't watched it, but I'm sure I did a good job on it.
Consulted on that. No big deal.
But also, too, apparently there's another movie called Straight Acting. That's a documentary about closeted gay Mormons. But luckily, mine's called Michael Furr's Straight Acting.
Yeah.
But I was like, oh, shit, I should have thought about that. I should have looked into that a little bit. But whatever.
Yours is like the Stephen King version, dude.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Dude, fucking ATB is really putting on, like, when are you guys releasing the Mark and Archie specials?
I think relatively soon.
I'm holding this mic.
We've been swamped with like actual regular work too.
Yeah.
But I just did like a quick pass on Mark's recently.
Mm-hmm.
We just got that fixed audio from you, so that'll get laid down. Should be coming out soon, hopefully. I think we got to do like intros and credits still though.
Nice.
We're just like pumping out as a city. We're just pumping out specials, dude. It's cool. It really is cool, and the quality of like comedians that are coming up, like I always tell. I was saying you since day one, like after we recorded that special, I was like, dude, you should try to see about pushing this to like. I mean, I know it sounds far fetched, but like I feel like Netflix would consider it, like maybe in like the fucking like way at the bottom of the thing, because like it's the production quality is there, dude. It's like it's better than a lot of the shit I've seen on Netflix. How many Netflix specials have I watched where I've watched less than 8 minutes?
Right.
A lot.
Yeah.
And also, too, there's actually a way, like, Netflix has a page on their website where you can suggest movies that should be on Netflix. And that's how people sometimes get things on there. So I'm like, should I do a push to get people to do that? Like, I mean, I
Maybe,
probably
yeah.
should, but
You could probably
cannot.
also release the audio on like Spotify or something too.
yeah, I've been talking to somebody about that. So I think I do want to do that. You know, at first I was like, well, a lot of it's kind of visual, but I was like talking to a lot of people who just consistently said, like, I've listened to other specials that had visual gags, and you just know, like, oh, well, I don't get
I'll
to
have to
see
watch
that,
this,
but I
yeah.
get it.
Yeah.
So I am thinking about it because I'm actually doing a press release soon that's going to go out, and I'm hopefully going to get a couple more people to review it
Yeah.
professionally because it has good ratings and stuff, and it's been out there long enough. I think people will be willing to talk about it. So,
Yeah, for sure.
so we'll see. Everybody who's told me that they saw it seemed to like it, so that's the best I could hope for.
So you have another. You say you have another like what, like a full hour of material on?
Yeah, I mean the last one was like 52 minutes. I think it probably clocks in the same, which is like the hour if I would talk slow enough. It's probably what I wrote an hour, but I said it in 52 minutes. You know, maybe we'll do 2 sittings for this one. Maybe you know we'll have to see because
Yeah,
it's felt
2 tapings.
Yeah, we seat 65 at the theater. You know, so I'm like maybe do 2 tapings. You know, that's one thing I learned from the last one is like, oh, I wish I had another take of this audio, and I wish I could edit around this without it looking like I'm jumping across the stage because I move around so much. So I learned a lot, and I'm like, you know, and when we first recorded it, I had like months of like, oh, I'm done. Like I've got nothing left. I can't write new jokes. So I really started revisiting a lot of old jokes. So I was like, fuck, I can't think of anything to write about. Like I don't know. And then once I started doing material that was different, even though it was old material, I started writing a lot again. And then I realized I was like, well, now I've talked about being a gay man. What else am I? And I'm like, oh, I'm also old. I'm old. I could talk about that. And then I realized, like, I already do talk about that a lot. I talk a lot about my life now versus when I was the age a lot of my younger comedian friends are. And, you know, being bald and just, you know, and I'm like, I'm going to turn 40 next year. So I'm like, I want to capitalize on that a little bit and just talk about what it's going to be like to be 40.
40. Call it
right before it happens.
Call it This Is 40. Get sued again.
Yeah.
Michael Furr's This Is 40.
And I went to call it 40-year-old ingenue, but I'm like, no one's going to be able to spell ingenue.
Yeah.
So
I don't even know what that means.
That's ingenue's like a young star. Like usually, it's
Okay.
usually a woman, and it's like the young, beautiful thing. It's like, oh, who's that in this movie? She's gonna be somebody. They call that like an ingenue, the young rising starlet.
Did not.
And I'm like, that's me, but I'm a 40-year-old dude.
Damn, dude. How do you guys feel about the fucking? You heard about the auto bar getting sold?
Yeah,
I did hear about
see
that. And I was
That's-
like, well, I don't know what that looks like because who are they selling it to? Is all that
Yeah.
matters.
You were the first
Also,
person
like,
I
are
thought
they
of, dude.
Restructure it or like, I don't know what's gonna happen.
They shouldn't change the name. They
No,
should
I
keep
think
the
so.
name.
It's branded, man. I
I
mean,
feel like keep
everybody
it.
knows auto
Don't
bar.
even remodel it. I feel like
Yeah.
maybe put a new coat of paint or something. Maybe do a fucking steam cleaning on everything.
Yeah.
Maybe get that secondary property, that like hidden green room area, kind of usable.
Mm-hmm.
Because we've been there for shows where they let you
Yeah.
with big people who are they like let back there. Us, we just stand there behind the stage and wait. But then they'll be like,
But no, yeah,
"Psych, there's a whole
upstairs, yeah.
house over
Yeah,
here
yeah,
where you can
it's
just
pretty
hang out
crazy.
and get crazy."
Damn,
So, but if
dude.
that was like if they had that as usable space or at least an official green room, that could be like a positive change.
Yeah, dude. I mean, if they just, they shouldn't rebrand it in my opinion. But then again, I have nothing to do with it. But like, they should keep the Wednesday karaoke's going.
Hell yeah,
Because
obviously.
that's
a
why I
great
said you were the first
karaoke.
person I thought of. Because I just remember like that one.
I'm sure they're gonna keep
Bless
that
you.
because I'm sure that's a fucking moneymaker.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, dude. But the question is it going to be a smooth transition? Like, are they going to close for a bit and then let the new owners come in and do
Yeah,
shit?
no
Or
clue.
And the worst part is like most times you hear about this like a business everybody knows and is cool and local and it gets sold. It's like they always try to change it or they try to just say like, well, this is the 3 things that work, so we're only going to do those, and then everything else is new, you know. And it's like that sucks because then stuff like comedy is probably not going to factor into that anymore.
Yeah, or it's gonna be like, I don't know, because they've like started bringing in like bigger name comics and
Yeah.
stuff. I feel like it would just transition to just more of that instead of having like local showcases.
But Second Saturday Shit Show has got to do good money there because it's
Oh,
it's
yeah.
consistently great show, and they get good names.
Yeah, I hope. I When is it the transition? I don't even know.
I don't know.
I hope it's after December because that's when I'm on the second Saturday shit show.
At the
You're gonna be there. It's gonna be all building materials.
Yeah. There's fucking styrofoam everywhere.
I do feel that there would be a silver lining if they came back and turned the auto bar into a place that focused a little bit more on bigger acts. It could displace a little bit of the local showcases. I could see that, but at the same time, it would be kind of cool to have a venue like downtown that kind of, because Magoobies does a lot for like when they bring in touring acts and stuff like that. They still have people featuring and opening, and it gives comedians a chance to like perform alongside like nationally touring acts and stuff like that. That would be cool to have a place like downtown that does that too, because there's so many places down there that do the local showcases already. Like you have Motor House and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
But like I feel like that could be a good thing potentially if they went in that direction. The question is, are they going to focus more on the music and kind of ditch comedy? But if they were bringing in like some pretty solid comedy acts. There's not that many places in Baltimore that do that. You have Magoobies, you have the Comedy Factory.
Comedy Factory.
Where else? And I can't even, unless you're playing the fucking Royal Farms Arena, like, you know, where do you go? It could be. I'm just saying, it could be a good thing if they find a way to keep the same ambiance and culture about the auto bar, but like up it a notch. That could be dope.
Yeah, I hope that
We'll have
comedy
to
is.
see, dude.
Yeah, I hope comedy isn't the thing that gets cut out of the equation because
Yeah.
they do put on good shows there, and like Michael Ian Black always goes back there, so it's like they can make it. But you know, it's like I'm scared that the person who would want to buy the auto bar would be because what they know of it as a music venue, and just be like, oh, we just need to do music all the time. Because
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of people were saying too that there hasn't been a lot of music at the auto bar for a long time.
Yeah.
It's much more dance parties and comedy.
Mm-hmm.
So I am.
But I'm sure. I bet those dance parties make fucking more money than some of those
yeah.
music shows.
Well, I used
dude.
to go to those all the time.
I've been to like some of the music shows where it's dope that it's like local, but also like at the same time, like if you had a fucking emo night that night, it would have been sold out.
Yeah.
If it was Britney versus Madonna versus
Yeah,
Gaga
or, like,
dance party,
Jay-Z versus Ye versus
Yeah.
Beyonce or whatever.
Dude, I remember going to a fucking Michael Jackson versus Prince dance party there, and that shit was amazing.
That's awesome, dude.
So good. Yeah, I don't know. I wish I know who bought it.
We gotta talk to him, dude. We gotta
Figure it
fucking
out.
put in a bid if the entire Baltimore comedy scene was like, yo, we're gonna pitch in like $6.
Right?
See if we can fucking buy this shit.
Make our own comedy
all
club.
8 million of us go pitching 30 cents.
But only
Do
comics
it.
who have decent jobs, so like 4.
Yeah, to do the $1.5 million bid.
We'll just do like each do our own individual GoFundMe.
Dude, that would be kind of cool though if the auto bar became like publicly owned. That's not even a real thing. It's not. It could be like fucking the Fells Point Theater. Like that's not for profit, right?
Yeah,
These are all terrible ideas, Miss Spin, right now.
Yeah, you
These are
don't want
bad
to
ideas.
you don't want a not-for-profit comedy club. That's because you can't sell booze.
Get a
you can't
bunch
do
of already
anything.
in debt comedians in more debt.
Yeah. Hey, I paid off my debt, so I'm ready to go. I'm ready to like get back in there. I think there needs to be another Baltimore comedy club. I really do.
Yeah.
But who's that person that's going to do it?
Motor House is starting to make moves, dude.
Yeah.
They're starting to make moves. Fucking Ivan behind the reins, the mayor of Motor House. Fucking, they could do something.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's good spaces, but still, it's like the every problem with Baltimore comedy and not being able to run and produce shows that are consistent is because the audiences aren't consistent, you know, because there's just not a vibe in Baltimore where people are like, oh, and we're going to go out and see comedy. We know that there's comedy in this city. You still, pretty much every time you do a show, you have people like, I never knew this happened here. Where else is there comedy? And it's just like,
Yeah.
I don't know why you would live in any big city and not assume there's some sort of stand-up comedy. But it is what you would call an underground scene because it is bar comedy and locally owned small theater spaces and small venues, you know, and comedy is their secondary thing. It's not comedy clubs. And people who are not actively seeking it out are never going to just come across it. you
Yeah.
know? They're not going to be like, oh, what are we going to do tonight? Oh, let's check what this music venue is doing. That's we know is not music tonight.
Well, how do you feel about the showcase to open mic ratio as compared to other cities that you're familiar with? Like, do we have more? Because I feel like a potential issue is that like open mics are cool for comedians, but like from an audience perspective, it's not always the best. You know what I'm saying? Like if we had more showcases and things like that, where we had like solid lineups, like 6 comedian lineups, where an audience could come out and see, 6 10-minute sets back to back, solid. That they might be more inclined than if they see like one good set and then some fucking squeegee boy and a crazy person and then like another funny set and just like, all right, I could probably go without seeing this for another until I wind up here again. You know what I'm saying?
Until I accidentally find a comedy show again.
Yeah, exactly.
I think like bars probably make more consistent money off of open mics just because comedians will at least come out and drink. Because that's the thing. Again, it's about the audiences. Like, there's very few showcases that we can think of that happen every month that get a consistent draw. And even them, they have their ups and downs, of course, like every venue does. But it's like a lot of other cities, if it's a showcase on the same level as the showcases we throw here, there's usually a more built-in audience. Like if you go to Philly and like do Milk Boy South, which is basically just Zizimos on South Street. But there's usually like 5 times as many people there to see the show.
Wow.
And it's just because there's a culture there of people knowing we can go out and see stand up tonight. Because it's hard too, because you got to keep a show going. You got to keep it going long enough that it becomes established, and that's hard to do. It's hard to keep people involved when there's usually no money involved, or you end up paying out of your pocket. I know a lot of people who produce monthly showcases who end up paying comedians out of their own pocket if the night's not good.
Yeah.
Here's a question: have you ever considered doing comedy, like straight comedy, not improv, but like straight comedy events at the Fells Point Theater?
Yeah, they do. Like Rob Smallwood just did his showcase there with Valance and Ronald James and Mike Smith, and it was great. Yeah, I mean, apparently had a really good turnout and stuff. And I wasn't there, but apparently I wasn't there, but apparently it was good. And they do that kind of stuff. It can fit into special events. I'm gonna film a fucking special there.
Because that's another thing I would say like is a factor. Like, because Fells Point is a more, I would say, if you don't live in the city, Fells Point is a more like a place that would be more appealing for people to come down and come through. You know what I'm saying? Like before I started like hanging out downtown more often, like even going to the Auto Bar, it wasn't like I was just like what, like bands from like the county would have shows at the Auto Bar and I'd be like, dude, we need a fucking venue in Taos, and like going to the Auto Bar just seemed like fucking like annoying for some reason. Because it but like if there was a place in like an area where people are already fucking high traffic area where people are like, oh yeah, right down on fucking Fleet Street, yeah, I'll fucking go to that, of course.
Yeah, and also you can walk to everything else after that. You can just keep being downtown and just spend the whole night. Yeah, I mean, it's like we had tons of walk-ups that were just people walking down the street and they just saw the amazing poster that Jordan Levine did for the show. And they're just like, what is this? Santa Claus Must Die. It's a skull. Let's see it, And just because they were there, and that doesn't happen in a lot of parts of the city.
That is just a weird thing about the city. It's like New York is like the city that never sleeps, but Baltimore is like, in most parts, it's like bars close, like Sidebar closes immediately after the open mic at like 11. It's just like, it's kind of weird to me. Yeah. It's like you go down on the Sidebar and it's the only place in like that block, in like that 4-block area that's doing anything. So like you go there specifically for that. There's no pregame spot. There's no postgame spot. There's no any type of like set of activities or set of like culture that can be built around it. It's just like this one isolated thing in this one isolated area, which is again why, I mean, it's similar. I would say similar with the Auto Bar, because like Auto Bar is kind of like a little out of the way from like the next closest place. What I would just say is like what Motor House is pretty close, but even Motor House is closing at fucking like midnight. And it's just like that stuff all makes a difference. I guarantee you when you go to fucking Milk Boy, whatever, in Philly, they have bars up and down the strip where you can go see the comedy, you can go out with people after, and that all factors in, dude. It does, because that was the main thing that I remember noting when I would go to see these local shows at the Auto Bar. It was just like, okay, we're going to go to the Auto Bar, and the show's going to end, and we all just have to like drive back home. Like it just seemed odd to me, and it doesn't seem as odd to me anymore because I'm like more immersed in it now. So it just seems like the way it is. Yeah. But I can still kind of step back and look at it objectively and kind of see why it's not necessarily as appealing to people who aren't actively looking to find it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, totally. Because it's weird too. Because it's like there's still such a inconsistent level of people who will pay to come and see shows that like if there are multiple shows happening within a close distance of each other, like if there's 3 comedy shows happening in the same night in Hamden, like someone is feeling like the hit of that. It's not like, oh great, and all 3 shows had a great night. It's like, No, the audience is going to only one of those shows. It's like the same audience, because there's just not a lot of people who are like going out just randomly walking around to see. Like Hamden is becoming that area where people just randomly come across
and
stuff.
it should be more of that kind of area. But I don't know why. I feel like Zissimo's the top floor should have been bigger by now.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Yeah,
it's been going on for 5 years.
Yeah,
it's I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, there's just a lot of opinions about.
Yeah, there's been a lot of it seems like a lot of disagreements on how they want the show to go.
Yeah, and the other thing is it's there's a certain type of person who hangs out in Hamden that is unappealing to people who are just randomly let's go to the city. They do not want to be in the middle of a heroin-fueled screaming match. That guy who's Pitbull got into a fight and it's just two fucking white trash Baltimore dudes screaming in the street and you're that's not so fun. Is this ambiance? I don't know what this is. This is
do
local
have the
color.
original Rofo.
Yeah, well, we do have the original Rofo.
The fucking second floor. Yeah, I said it. The second floor in the Rofo.
That's right. Well, it's funny too because we have the people who do hang out in Hamden are oh, do you have $5 to see a show? It's y'all a bunch of broke, cross punks and Mikey kids and stuff. And it's I get that. I'm more in that group than the group of affluent people.
That was the crazy thing walking around near the Fells Point Theater or the Corner Theater today. There's so many families in that neighborhood. Dude, it was insane.
People have real houses and lives and money and
stuff.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
This is not like Hamden. We're this house is empty and this house is a bunch of kids who go to college together. You're we own these houses.
I fucking was in my backyard last night and I just heard my neighbor 3 doors down yelling across the alley to the neighbor across the street being yeah, you see this jacket? He's no, I haven't seen that one before. He's yeah, $300, man, $300. It's all right, where am I living right now?
Yeah. Do you guys have phones? Just yelling at each other from their mouth.
I think I live in a pretty nice block in Hamden, but still 3 o'clock in the morning, it is still the Hamden shit show out there. It's still
Damn, really?
Amber! Get back in that car.
Yeah, I don't get any of that, luckily.
I just hear a lot. It's because the Rofo's so
close.
The Rofo brings them in, dude.
It's a fucking moth. It's to a flame, and the moths are just you better give me back my phone.
Fucking, yeah, my old house. You would have thought that I wouldn't have heard anything because that was a pretty residential street, a lot of families.
Totally.
But since my window faced out towards Wyman Park, there's just this dude that out here screaming in the middle of the night, the entire time I lived there, rain, sleet, snow, whatever. I just hear. At 1 in the morning, 2 in the morning from the fucking woods, every night.
Just getting attacked by a bear for a year straight.
No one
Somebody's
has intervened.
Gotta hear me by now.
Nobody wants to do anything about it. Everybody's just
the one bad snow we had, he just kept screaming out his name. My name is da-da-da. I was oh my God. What the fuck is gonna happen to this guy?
Yeah, I mean I think that's probably why there's so many people doing stuff specials and projects in Baltimore because they're how can I let people who are not here see this? There are so many other people who care about this other places. I wish they could see what I'm doing here.
Damn, dude.
But it's still I'm very invested in Baltimore, but at the same time it's it's still cheaper for me to live here and go to New York for a week and do paid gigs there and then come back and live here.
Yeah.
Than to just live there and do them when they're close.
And it is kind of double-edged sword, I guess, if that's the right terminology, but because on one hand, we were saying, there is not necessarily a quality scene built up in as compared to Philly or New York or DC or something like that, but because it hasn't been established, it's open territory. It is like the wild. It's like Red Dead Redemption down here. It is, dude.
I knew the conversation would
He's been
quickly
waiting,
turn to us
dude.
back
Yeah.
to talking about Red Dead Redemption 2.
Waiting to bring it up, and he hasn't even played it yet.
Couldn't
my
wait,
God.
dude. I'm just playing it in my mind through this conversation.
It's all I can talk about with anybody else who's playing it.
Yeah, dude.
It reminds me a lot of like when Skyrim first came out, and you would just talk to people who were playing it, and you'd be like,
Yeah, yeah.
"What happened to you today? Like, what did you do today?" You know, because just so much random shit happens that has nothing to do with like the story. You're just like,
Yeah.
I saw this, I did this, it was crazy, everybody
Dude, I caught
died.
caught a 13-pound, 7-ounce fish the other day. It's fucking big boy.
Hell yeah.
in the game.
Red Dead. Dude.
Oh.
Yeah, not in real life.
Not in
No,
real
no,
life.
no, no.
It's like the new
Been
childhood
fishing a
experience.
ton. Yeah. Your dad took you fishing today? No, I was playing a rated M video game.
It was in the Old West though. So it's better.
No, I actually took a boy fishing though.
I
Just a
did-
boy yourself.
Yeah.
After I killed his father.
But it's weird too because that game is kind of heavy. You know, like there's a lot of like serious shit that goes down. Like while you're playing it, you're like, "Oh, dude, I got into a thing and I ended up killing some dude." And I
Yeah,
feel
like,
bad. So,
I sucked out venom on some random guy on the side
me
of the
too.
road.
But he bought me something later. He
Oh,
was like,
nice.
"Hey, you can pick anything out of the store you want." I was like, "Thank
Hell
you.
yeah.
Please don't tell anybody I sucked the poison out of your thigh." Oh no! But like it because of that, like I've been trying to offset it. Like if I don't have time to play Red Dead, I'm like, I think I'm gonna play Minecraft. I need to like, I really just need something light.
That
Yeah,
is-
Red Dead's a little like intense sometimes. Like
Yeah.
I like when I was just fucking like last weekend, I just fucking stayed in all weekend because I was like, I don't feel good. I want to get better. And then like I couldn't even really play Red Dead that much because I just wanted to like sit there and watch TV. Like Red Dead is pretty intense.
You
Like
got to
you can't just like
focus the whole time.
Yeah, you can't like just like zone out and play that game. Cause then a fucking like snake you'll step on it by accident, you'll get fucking bit and die in like 10 minutes.
Or you like I didn't
Fucking-
fall off a mountain with your horse and then it's broken and
You
dies.
accidentally, like press like fucking a little bit right on the thumbstick and you'll run into a fucking tree and see your horse do like a backflip and on its neck and you're like, oh, I hope you don't fucking die, Oreo. Fucking need you to live, Oreo.
I don't want to have to carry my saddle all the way back.
Yeah.
Wait, do you get to name your horse, or is that the name of the
Yeah.
No,
horse?
I named my horse Oreo.
My horse's name is Barb.
Barb. That's a good horse
She's
name.
a brawny broad. Her name is Barb. I had a horse named Jeff, and while I was playing cards, I didn't have him tethered, and he got hit by a train.
Yeah.
So you like when you die, you don't just restart at the same place. Like what happens? Like
You kind
your
of
horse.
okay. So if you're in the middle of a mission, you can go back to a checkpoint to like keep going in the mission. But if
Yeah.
you're just running around the world, you kind of just restart at like the
Like a
next sort of,
campfire
like
or some
campfire or
shit,
spawn
yeah.
point, and you lose some money. You lose like 10% of your money. I
Yeah,
guess.
yeah.
Damn. It's kind of like Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah. Dude, like I was playing for like a week probably and I didn't die and I felt good about myself. And then I like finished this mission and I was just like riding back to my camp. And then all of a sudden it was like night and I saw this like campfire up on the ridge. And then like these people just like spot me and be like, hey, there's one of those like O'Driscoll guys or whatever. Not O'Driscoll, but fucking like Dutch's last name,
Yeah,
Van
yeah.
or Hoof or whatever. It was like some rival gang that like had it out for our gang. They're like, hey, there's da from the gang. And then they all just ran down and slaughtered my ass out of the blue. I just like hunted a deer. I had a deer on my horse. I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna fucking take this back to the butcher, help my fucking camp out, get some honor. Fucking dead instantly.
Yeah,
You get honor?
Yeah, you get honor or disgrace or like bad points. It shows you how like good or evil you are. If you like murder someone and then loot their dead body, you lose points. If you help,
Yeah, there's
people,
like a scale.
Yeah, it goes. I'm finally now more good than I was bad because I was
Nice.
bad for a long time. But like literally, there was these raiders and they were in their camp and they came for me, kind of like what Eric was saying. And so I had these incendiary rounds in my gun, so I shot them and it like burned the whole campsite down. But then I looked with the eagle vision and I could see that there were items I could collect in their little encampments. I was like, well, let me wait till the fire dies down. And it was mostly died down, and I go to collect it, and I just got caught on fire and died.
Damn.
And they were all dead, and I couldn't loot their bodies because they were just like charred up. I was like, oh, damn, I did too much. And then their whole camp was on fire, and then I'm on fire. I was like, fuck, I just
Yeah.
killed myself.
Damn.
Damn it. Fuck. Yeah, I've done some dumb shit in that game because definitely, like, if you like fall down a cliff or something, you're pretty fucked.
Yeah,
even if
you're
you
donezo.
live, it's like, oh, good luck getting back up there. Good luck, dude.
Dude, I love sneaking up onto like little rival gang encampments though, and like them just all being around the fire, just sitting, and fucking tossing all dynamite in there. Just like,
I like the fire arrows
Boy.
too. I like to just like start shooting them and set
Yeah.
them all on fire.
Little-
It's a good game, but yes, the
It's so
comedy
good.
scene is a lot like that. Is what we were saying.
fucking just
Nice.
sneaking up.
And the nice thing too, like compared to other cities, and like we hear a lot, is that like there's a lot of talent in Baltimore that is not like a higher level, but there's so much variety here too with people's personal styles of comedy that's like very refreshing to people who do comedy in cities that have like a bigger, more developed scene.
Yeah.
You know, they're like, wow, you guys are all really good, and there's not 9 of you in a row who are doing the exact same kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's not
And
like
also
7
people-
Louis, 2 Sarah
Yeah.
Silvermans,
My girlfriend is crazy, like
Yeah.
for like 8 sets in a row. But then
Kevin Hart,
and other people from other, especially bigger cities where they do more comedy, they hate the fact that we all get along so well. People
Really?
hate that. They're like, "Wow, you guys like really seem to like each other." I'm like, "Yeah, we're all going to karaoke together after
Yeah,
this."
yeah.
They're like, "What the fuck?" Like people from New York comedians, they do not get along.
Yeah, that was Ivan's big thing too. When he came up, he was like, "Y'all aren't like competitive. Y'all don't have like a hierarchy or like you don't have like a system where you know you're better than someone." I'm like, "Yeah, it's their, it's the Baltimore comedy scene. This isn't like a big
We just have honor and disgrace.
Yeah, exactly. We're all suffering through it together, which should be Baltimore's motto, because we're just like, yeah, we're all just going to try to survive this together and just do our thing. But also,
in the
too, it's
bucket,
like,
baby.
if somebody's going to book you, I don't feel like that should have been me. If they want you, it's different than me. So, like, you
or
want
like
that.
Oh,
not
cool.
this.
I'll just wait till next month when they book that show and see if I get booked.
Yeah. And people are pretty fair. I mean, pretty much everybody who books showcases like seem to give everybody of the pool of us who book shows on a consistent basis.
Yeah.
Like everybody gets a shot.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, even if it's not about who owes you a shot. It's really about, is it your turn to get up again?
Yeah.
I couldn't do that. I couldn't live in a city where it's like, oh, I'm never going to book you ever because you're not part of this group of people I book.
Yeah, yeah.
And like,
It's not necessarily like there is no hierarchy. I mean, there's obviously comedians that like at least I have an idea of like who the good ones are and who the fucking
Yeah.
terrible ones
Yeah.
are. And
But
like,
it's like,
it's not out in the open. But like it's
there
like,
is a list.
I mean,
You
it's
just-
definitely
we
like
just
the
haven't changed
cream
it.
rises to the crop in any situation. So
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
whoever
Cream rises to the
whoever's
crop,
like
baby.
on a fucking streak and doing good, they're gonna get booked more than someone
Yeah.
who isn't.
Yeah, and I mean, and there's always, of course, like imbalance there, and there's always like, why doesn't this person haven't they booked me in a while? But it's like, I think we're pretty respectful here of the idea of like, if you are doing it and it works for you, even if I don't love it, like you should be able to do it. You know,
Yeah.
it's like there's a lot of comedians where I was like, oh, I don't particularly think you're all that funny, but you book a lot of shows and people like you and you do good shows and you're successful in that way, so you should be on shows.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know. It's hard too because like we really do have like graduating classes. I think rather than like cliques. I mean, there's a
Yeah.
couple of cliques. I think it's more like these are all the people who were doing it around the same time. Like pretty much everyone that we talk to as like friends in comedy, we've all been kind of doing it around the same amount of time and
Yeah.
have been reaching those levels where we get our first opportunity, and then if it's good, you get brought back in all these different showcases. And there's like a class under us that's coming up, that is like it's their turn now. It's their turn to do all the showcases and host for their first time and
Yeah.
get their first chance at Magoobies and all this stuff like that. Where we're all kind of going beyond that, our little graduating class of whatever you want to call it of PC. We just sort of like PC comedy that ruined comedy.
Yeah, we ruined comedy.
We ruined comedy. I think like we're all now starting to find our individual places that we exist in comedy, and sometimes that takes you out of just strictly stand up.
Yeah, yeah.
But I was saying the other day, like to our group of friends, I was like, I think it's amazing that we're all doing such cool individual things, and it's not like we're all getting these great high-paid stand-up gigs at the biggest clubs, but everybody's doing something cool that is related to their comedy that makes them a success in their individual field. And that's like amazing because it's like, well, it would be almost worse if we were all just waiting to get the same spot at the same club for the same paycheck.
Yeah, no,
we're all
it's
making
cool.
it work.
That actually really is a good way of putting it, the way you said graduating classes, because that's what I meant when I was like, there is like, I can see the levels.
Yeah.
But it's not like the way I would imagine what you guys are referring to, like maybe in a place like New York where it's like, oh, that guy's like, he's this and like, you know, this, that, the other thing. But yeah, I would say that, yeah, graduating class is a good way of putting it.
Yeah, I can't think of any like comedians who are like working consistently and get, and not just like the stand-up gigs, but the other stuff that comes along with being a working comic. Like you do podcasts and promotion and hosting and events and sometimes corporate or whatever, all those things, random shit that we do. Host dog bingo like I did 2 weeks ago for money. I'm a working comic, bitch. But it's like at the same time, I don't see many of those people who do that and don't have like a network of people. You know, they're always a part of some other big group. You know, it's not like a lot of people are just like, yeah, and I do this too. You're like, no, you and all your friends all make it happen. So so I think it's cool. I mean, I feel like so lucky meeting comedians from other cities who I can tell just by the way they interact with us or, you know, anybody. I'm like, oh yeah, you are not used to going to a place where comedians are going to treat you nice.
Yeah.
Because we're always like, here's all the mics. You should come back. Please come and do my show. You know, and then you go to New York, and I'm like, oh, you don't even make eye contact with me.
Yeah.
But like the tears, like for instance, Mike Quinlan was on Confessional last week, and he's like pals with Mike Stork.
Yeah.
And like I consider that like a class, like those guys that were all doing it that long, and I'm like, then you have guys like Mickey Coachella who are in the same like, but it's not like anybody's better. It's just like, oh, that's just those dudes, you know.
Yeah.
And then like this circle is very, you know, you have Ivan, Mark, you, and all these guys, and that's like a thing. You guys are definitely the youngest generation, dude, I would say. Or at least the youngest. How long have you been doing comedy?
Only like 5 years.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Youngest in terms of like
I think it
tenure.
all comes with seniority and experience. So it's like I think everybody will start to get those better opportunities because they'll find those individual relationships or situations that work so well for them that they can follow that path to whatever extent that is. Like Mike Stork gets those great, you know, he does like, he's really great in Canada. He always like sells out all these rooms, you know, and he does that because he's proven himself to be able to do that. So it's like whenever we all start to get whatever our individual opportunities are, situations are, we can hopefully and probably prove ourselves there and follow that until it's something of high esteem or high enough regard that you can say like, wow, look at me, I was a professional comedian as opposed to just someone who does comedy.
Yeah.
And it's weird too because Baltimore's a very open mic comedy scene. There's a lot of open micers, but there's so many people, especially right now, I've noticed, who are open mic comedians who don't really seem to have any desire to do comedy like professionally, which is a cool. I mean, I guess if you just want to like do it as a pastime,
It's like getting to a weird spot in Baltimore where like comedy is getting to be more of a known thing here.
Yeah.
And like I don't know how to say it without sounding mean, but I don't know.
But you have a lot of people who are doing it, and it sort of lowers the, I don't want to say quality, but like the value of it because there's people who are doing it flippantly, or without
like
regard for the quality of it.
Like they like the idea of them doing comedy, but then like they don't do comedy.
But that's going to be like that. In my opinion, what you guys are describing is the natural progression of how a city scene is built, because it shows that like you have to start off with the people, like the people who are just going to do it as a pastime are not going to be the ones who are going to go out there and kind of carve the path to get these open mics going. So it's going to take people that want to build the scene. They establish it. And then once people that don't really care about it that much hear about it, like, oh yeah, there's comedy, they'll come out and they'll participate in it.
Yeah.
Which in turn does take away from the overall value of like the comedy in general.
Yeah.
But it shows that the comedy scene is getting established to a point where now people are starting to catch on. And then you have these terrible, shitty people that come out and tell all their friends to come out, and they might bomb in front of their friends, but they might see you and Eric and Ivan go up and kill, you know?
Yeah.
And so that brings those people in that only came to see their fucking bus boy friend who, you know, tells funny jokes at work, you know, bomb on stage. But that's a cool thing. It's the same thing with music open mics. So when you go to music, I go to music open mics all the time. The majority of people that are performing there are not people that are playing full time professionally, stuff like that. It's just people that like go there, they want to try a song and stuff like that. But that shows me that like there's an interest in doing it, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I like don't I know that like I have a different mindset than most people about comedy and performing and everything I do I just consider comedy, whatever it is. Like I don't get that people don't have the drive to like, oh, but where is this going to take me and how is this going to make this my thing? Like my best friend, she's a teacher and she teaches these art programs to kids, and she had this like syllabus she came up with that was really exciting, and they were going to use it, and they said, oh, we're going to teach the other teachers this. It's this great program. And I was like, you should make videos where you're doing these art program projects, and like people love it, man, because you're like really interesting character and these great ideas. And she's like, well, they're already going to use them in the school. Why would I do that? Oh, right. You're not trying to do this so that you'll get famous from it. Like, you're just doing it because you want to do it. Like, okay.
Oh, you're trying to help the kids.
You're trying to teach the kids art? Okay, all right, that's cool. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Like, I mean, that's just my drive, you know, is to be like, okay, well, then how can I take this to a thing where eventually everybody could see it or everybody would know about it, you know? So I think that's, you know, there's people who are like, I just really love doing comedy. And I'm like, I really love practicing the comedy I'm doing for you. And eventually we'll do for more people.
But the cool thing is there's lessons that you can learn from people like that.
Yeah.
Because I feel like I relate to you, obviously, a lot in that category where it's like everything I do, there's always this looming thing in the back of my mind. I'm like, how does this play out in the grand scheme? Like, is this a step in the right direction, a step in the wrong direction? Very rarely do I find myself doing anything just for the raw enjoyment of it. I mean, I don't do anything for the raw enjoyment. Like, I don't even fucking take a walk half the time unless I can justify to myself, all right, is this going to make me like more in shape?
All right, I'm
or
going to
what?
go to fucking 7-Eleven.
I need a purpose if I'm going to do something. But like, I think that when you do something for the raw enjoyment, like when these people come and they go to an open mic and just play a song that they just wanted to play, and they're not thinking like, is there going to be someone in the crowd that can book me at this place? Is there going to be this, that, the other thing? Not only does it make the experience more enjoyable, but it kind of puts you more in the state of mind of this actual state of mind you should be when you're an artist.
Yeah.
You start getting too focused on the advancement aspect of it, and then you forget the whole purpose of why you're doing it in the first place. Why is it that I want to get famous in comedy versus anything else? What draws me to this versus that? And if you lose touch with your passion for it and just doing it, but like on the same token, like what you're talking about with that teacher, this art teacher, the problem I think is that you have people that have that passion and are teaching kids. Like for instance, like you direct improv, but you also have that same. So like you're able to. I assume, see somebody that's learning from you and pick out that this is another person like me that also wants to pursue this. Yeah. And you can actually kind of give them more insight into what that experience is going to be like versus like an art teacher somewhere else, at some like high school or something. They're not necessarily cultivating the actual, like the kids that do want to take it to the next level. They don't have nothing to learn from you. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I mean, you can learn technique and passion, but it's like if you're not like, you can teach me how to like draw this and that, but if you're not teaching me how to like make myself something as a result of it, then like what am I here for?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah, it's weird too because like, you know, I enjoy doing comedy so much, but it's like at this point in my life that I do as much comedy stuff as I do like a day job. It feels a lot like work. You know, it's like between like producing shows and running spaces and directing and doing theater and doing like all of it. It's like it is definitely a job, but at the same time, like the act of actually being on stage is still like the only reason it's worth doing it. Like certainly not because it makes so much money. Like I couldn't. Like I know people who are like, oh, I'm gonna keep coaching improv or keep writing, doing joke writing workshops, but I'm not gonna do stand up anymore. And like. That's like the whole reason I do any of this is so that I can get on stage and tell jokes or perform. Like that's like the only real pay like that because you know that's why we end up doing it for free so much. You know because it's just like well yeah sure this this is for people I already know and who will already book me, and I don't owe them anything other than just my time. But I also want to do it.
Yeah.
I also want to get up there and do it for at a show.
And
Yeah.
happiness is so like subjective too, because like you might like I'll look at a guy who's like twice my age or like in his 40s,
Like me.
I'll look at a guy, but that's the other thing with music and comedy have totally different timelines. Like honestly, I'm kind of in that ballpark. I don't even feel like you can honestly be a killer comedian until you're at least in like your 30s, because I just like when you look at guys
You need, like life experience and shit.
Like music is totally different. Music is like but when I look at guys who are like playing the same gigs that I'm playing in like their 40s and stuff like that, I'll be like, damn, like they must feel unfulfilled, like but I'm basing it off of what I want for myself. And I'm not basing it off of what they may want for themselves, So like, and all happiness is. I heard this. It was on the Elon Musk thing that he did with Joe Rogan. He said happiness is expectations. No, happiness is reality minus expectations, or something like that. Basically, so like, I'm looking at these guys who are playing music for a living but aren't fucking selling out and famous and shit, and I'm like, oh man, they must not be happy. But it's like, what if that's not what they want?
Right.
What if they literally are just happy because they get to raise a family and do what they want for a living?
Yeah.
And be an alcoholic and not have to be held accountable for it. That's happiness.
Have an excuse for it.
Exactly.
I'm a musician.
Like it adds up, but it's all based off of. So that's why it kind of goes back to what I was saying before. It's like I envy people that have less expectations.
Yeah.
Because I would be way happier.
Because the reality is the same.
Yeah.
So they have the mathematical
like
equation.
we're in the same situation, except
happier.
one of us is way happier.
Yeah, dude.
You know?
We would have had fucking houses by now.
Yeah.
We would have had like a dog that loved us.
Yeah, a dog that loves us, teaching a kid how to throw a baseball by
Oh,
now.
no, not a kid yet. Not a kid.
Dude, that's because you're not happy, bro.
If you were happy, you'd want to procreate.
I was happy. I'd be a 26-year-old with a kid.
Yeah. You could have a couple by now.
Oof.
Well, that's the thing. It's like I've never had like machinations for that kind of stuff. Like the idea of like
Machinations, that's a word. Is it?
It's a real word.
It is, I think.
Yeah, it's when you.
I mean,
eat
Michael
really
did
sold it.
say
You really
It's
sold
when you
it.
eat a macaroon.
And I instantly knew what you meant by it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
machinate, like a plan to make it happen, desires, dreams to make it happen, but you kind of plan it out, like to like have like the idea of like working in an office and that's my job, like I can't live like that.
Does
Like, I don't
anybody
think I
have
could
machinations for that, or are people?
Yeah,
just
well,
like,
I think
Think
no, but they
so.
have machinations for the stuff that goes along with it, like
Like, I wanna
family,
be the
and-
manager one day. Or
Yeah,
I
or
wanna
like
be
just
the-
like I can afford a house and support my family and stuff.
Yeah.
But like that means nothing to me. I'm like, what can I do that will fulfill what I want to do and what I want to put in the world and be a part of? Like that's all that matters. Like it has nothing to do with the situation I'm in. It has to do with like what I'm doing with it.
Yeah, and I guess
Yeah.
from my perspective, I always looked at people that work like 9 to 5s they don't like or whatever as like, oh, well, this is just, they just found a way to kind of like support a life. And that was like, they weren't necessarily looking for fulfillment out of their job. You know what I'm saying? Like I imagine those people go to work the same way I used to go to school. Like school was like this
Yeah.
necessary thing that I just had to do, and then it was Friday, and I was like, "Oh, it's Friday!
Well,
I
it's,
can
like,
just fucking."
it's like a thing that they made their life outside of work, but like with comedy or music or anything like that, like that's your life. at
Yeah.
that point.
Yeah.
Like your life is your work. But
Yeah.
I don't know. It's like, and I don't know if it would be nice to have like a separation of that, because like, I don't know. Maybe if like you got to a point where you like hated doing it, it would get to that guy who's like, I'm just doing this and fucking clock in, clock out, and go
Yeah.
home, watch fucking
Big
Jeopardy.
Bang Theory.
Yeah.
yeah, that is what those machinations watch, dude. I like that word, dude.
Fucking
That's a
damn
good word.
right,
Really
yeah.
incorporated into the lexicon lately. I'm trying to say as many times in this conversation to make up for the 26 years that I've never said.
You're right.
I gotta bring my average up.
Working
Dude.
into the lexicon of your
Fucking
vernacular.
word of the hour.
Yeah, I mean the weird thing is too. It's like, I'm not like part of the 100% of what most people are like in lots of ways, but I don't know. I mean, my parents always seemed really unhappy. You know, like they worked really hard. They had kids. They had like what would be like a happy life, but they didn't seem fulfilled. They were just waiting until they worked enough that they could stop working and do what they wanted to do.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm just going to do what I want to do. Like, I don't
Yeah.
want to build up to that. I don't need
Yeah.
to like work towards having free time to fulfill my passions and follow my dreams. Like, I was thinking about those. You probably guys never watched Oprah. But back in the day, I watched a lot of Oprah. It's a really good show.
Explains a lot.
Explains a lot. That's why I'm so knowledgeable. But like they always
That's how
have
you
these
learned that word.
Yeah, machinations.
Machinations for everybody.
They would literally like do these episodes where it'd be like, you know, like this woman, like, I left my high pressure job as the CEO of a corporation, and I followed my dream to weave baskets and make soaps. You know, it's just like, well, yeah, you were a CEO, of course you can do that, but it just proves that it's like the job that pays the most money and puts you in the best situation. If there's something else that is you have an honest passion about, your best case scenario is that you can make enough money to stop doing that thing so you can do the thing you're passionate about. And then there's people who just don't have passions that fall outside of their extracurricular activities. Someone's passion is their family or going to church or reading books or whatever, and that's great. And then they can support that life by just working a job. But like my machinations are to not have to work a full-time job where I'm not happy and doing shit for other people. I want to be a full-time comedian, director, producer, writer.
At the same time, I would say that you need to maintain, like we were saying earlier, you need to find some way. Once you do make it so that your life is your job or your job is your life, you need to have some type of separation from that still. Because the other thing that I envy about these people that work their 9-to-5s and stuff is like they work their 9-to-5s 40 hours a week. And then once they're out of that, they're just able to just kind of escape in the leisure, like enjoy their lives, you know?
Yeah.
Versus when you work for yourself and you're doing that stuff, it's like
It never ends.
your life is your job or vice versa. And then every day is just like one long shift. Because you don't, it's hard to give yourself a day off because you never feel like you deserve one. At least like, it's just like, you're like, well, am I where I should be? Like, maybe I should fucking like not just chill here and watch Always Sunny for 3 hours. You know, maybe that's not my best play.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I mean, now that I do have more responsibilities and jobs and opportunities in comedy, it never stops. Like it's the first thing that I'm dealing with in the morning on my phone, and it's like the last thing I'm dealing with at night, whether it's something I'm emailing or texting or messaging or just at a thing, at an event.
I think it would be healthy because I find myself doing the same thing. Like I'll send emails at 11 a.m., 11 p.m., fucking wake up at 3 in the morning. I'll be out at the bars and, you know, do shit and promote stuff. And it's like, you need to structure it in some way because it's not healthy to not do that. Like I almost feel like I've never done it, so I don't know if it works. But I imagine that like if you structured the way you worked on your comedy the same way that somebody's 9-to-5 was structured, where you were like, dude, I'm waking up at 8:30. At 9 p.m., at 9 a.m., I'm fucking doing my shit. And at 5 p.m.
6 jokes or whatever.
Yeah. At 5 p.m., I'm clocking out. And I make myself dinner. And if somebody emails me at 7 p.m. about a fucking club that wants to book me, at 9 a.m. tomorrow morning, I'll respond. Just like if I had a fucking job, but instead I work for myself. And then I feel like once you organize your life, I mean, I don't know if you guys, I imagine that we're kind of talking about the same thing right now.
Yeah. I mean, I have a little bit of that because I have an office where my part-time job happens, and so like I just have regular office hours there. So while I'm there, I just put in like this is where I do all my online promotion and all my like responses for comedy stuff. So I do have like some set hours, but you know, it's hard because I'm actually struggling with that a lot right now because it's just like I don't manage the time that I have that I'm not doing stuff very well because I'm just like, oh, I have a moment where I don't have to think about it. Let me just play a video game or get high and just like chill and watch She-Ra on Netflix. But then you're like, oh shit, that was my time to do the stuff that I need to do to make my life functional, you know? So that's when it's really hard not having a structured life.
Dude.
My mother's always like, you need to not say yes to everything because you're going to burn out. And I'm like, well, or I'm going to say yes to nothing and then I'll have nothing to burn out over. You know, what's the difference, you know?
Dude, I have like such fucking. I just moved into my new place recently.
Oh, yeah? Where's it at?
It's right in Towson at the Circle.
Nice.
It's
Nice.
really, dude. It's fucking awesome. I'm on the 11th
Yeah, I
floor.
gotta check it out, dude.
I'm on the 11th floor. I'm facing south. I can see the whole harbor. I can see ships coming in the harbor. I
Sweet.
can see the Key Bridge.
I like that part of Towson. That's
dude,
cool.
it's fucking awesome. But I was like moving my furniture around, and like I remember my goal was to hang this picture, right? And so I'm fucking in my apartment, and I'm alone. There's nobody there to like keep me on track. We hadn't had TV installed yet. I'm just in my apartment with this picture, this one fucking picture. And I walk into the room, and I'm like, oh, I need my nails. So I walk back in my bedroom, I sit in my bed, start thinking about some shit, walk out, go back to the picture. I'm like, oh, fuck, I forgot the nails. I mean, we're talking like 10 minutes have passed at this point. Walk back in there, finally get my nails, walk back, and then I'm like, oh, dude, I gotta get the hammer. Walk down to the fucking car, get the car, I'm fucking listening to like random shit. And I'm telling you, I kid you not, it was probably 40 or 45 minutes of me just walking in and out of rooms and just fucking just thinking about something and then like watching a YouTube video and then coming back and doing it. And I was like, dude, I know what my teachers were talking about when they said I have ADD. Like, I knew it. When they said it, I was like, dude, fuck you guys. I can focus on stuff. But like, dude, I couldn't hang a fucking picture without like, it was like, but then the thing is, I hit that vape pen, dude, that like weed vape pen. Dude, I got so much shit done.
Yeah.
Weed is my Adderall, dude. I fucking, like, it's fucking great for me for that. It just, because other than, like, that's the reason why I don't have a structured life is because when I come to the studio, this is supposed to be my office. I try to get here every day at 11 a.m. and I try to do my shit until like a reasonable time. Maybe when it gets dark, I'll leave. I'll go for a run and stuff like that. But like 50% of my day is me watching YouTube videos and fucking with people on Facebook. Like just like the most random shit.
What?
Pays the bills, dog.
Never.
Pays the bills.
Professional Facebook troll, dude. Fucking just racking up my money. But like, it's just like, so like at the end of the day, I'm like, damn, I have taken 8 hours to accomplish what I could have done by lunch.
Well, this is why we're not the kinds of people who can have those kinds of day-to-day job, 9 to 5
that's why we're not
lives.
CEOs.
Our brains don't work like that. That's why we're not CEOs and parents. It's because we're fucking creative types. Like Archie Jameson to me is like such a great representation of like what it means to be like a comedian who is like an artist and stuff, because his view on comedy is so purely tied into the act of doing it and being a comedian and having that be the expression of his art, that it's like, yeah, that has to be the focal point of his life, and he works and stuff, he's got a job, and he's got to like live his life. But it's like, if that's like the way you think about it, like, oh, but this is the art that I do, that I create, and it's the thing that I am. It's like that has to be the center of your life, and that comes with a certain vortex of crazy thought patterns and weird time schedules, and and that's just why a certain type of people can be artists and comedians and performers, and some people can't, and they can do the thing that you would be if you were a performer. Like they can do stand up, they can play it at an open mic. But it's like, well, I can't make that my life because I can't survive the like vortex of nonsense and shit and that goes along with it.
At a certain point, it's like maybe not a choice that you consciously make, but I remember like the most recent like wave of reality hit me after I got out of like, I was in like a 3.5-year relationship, and I just I could feel myself just letting it die. I could feel myself letting it die because I knew way down that I didn't want to get married and have kids and do all that stuff at the time on that timeline. But I couldn't admit it to myself because like I'm in love with this person, right? It's like you can't say I wasn't strong enough of a person to just be like, I had to make this decision. So just let it happen. You know what I'm saying? But I remember after that, I just realized it was like, and that was right around the time when I started playing a lot more gigs, and then that was right around the time when I'd get that fucking bot. We started getting like fucking more traffic on this podcast and things like that, and getting all kinds of gigs. And it was like, I realized like that at that moment I was like, wow, I really am definitely a musician. It doesn't mean I'm a good one. Doesn't mean I'm a bad one. I just am this thing. And it's like that. It's just what it is. Like I said, it's not necessarily a great thing. It's not what I thought it was going to be, but it's like, this is just my life, I guess. Like this is weird. I just made this decision, and all these other things that I thought I also wanted. It's like you can't have all that. you can't have all of that.
Yeah.
I'm sure at some point down the line you figure out a way to fucking fit that into your life. But it's like I really did kind of go through life just kind of thinking like, well, I can be this and also that and that. And no, you got to go all in on something at some point.
100%. And like you have to like the drive to let's call all of it being an artist, all whatever it is. It's like the thing that makes you get up in the morning, not just what you're going to do that day. You know, it's like that's, you know, it's like we know so many people who do comedy specifically and music too, you know, who are not mentally right, you know, who have mental issues, mental problems, you know, and it's like, and this is the way they deal with that. And it's like, well, that's not about what you do for a living. That's about like, you have to do this or you're not a right person, you know. You can't live, not alone what kind of life you're going to live, but you can't just be alive, you know. You just can't deal with it. So yeah, I mean, I still wouldn't change it. I mean, I've worked very traditional job, well, not traditional jobs, but very like traditional hours, and had like very full-time jobs and pretty much my whole life. But that was just because I've been on my own since I was 17, and I've never been able to like not have to make all the money I need to live, you know.
Yeah.
But I'm really bad at working for people. I'm a really bad employee. I'm a great worker, but I'm a terrible employee.
Same way.
Because I work real hard and I'm really good at whatever I do, but I hate being told what to do, and I hate having a boss who I do not see eye to eye with. I'm just my best friend who I saw today, she was like, yeah, you know, you like to say things to bosses like, I don't want to go along with a bad idea. I'm like, yeah, that is an actual thing I've said to an employer. I literally got fired from a job one time because I told the owner of the business, oh, you think you're better than me because you own a business?
Think you're better than me because you pay my bills?
Yeah, your ideas are better than mine because you bought a building.
No, I'm probably equally bad at working for myself as I am for working for other people, except I'm just never going to fire myself. Like, I have like 1,000 trillion write-ups for myself. Just no disciplinary action.
But you know what, it's like,
let it slide.
You make it work though. I mean, it's like the success of this podcast and the success of everything you guys do together and everything that ATB Productions has done, everything that you're involved with in any aspect, it's like, they didn't just happen. They were not a thing that existed and then you went and became a part of it. It's like it all happened because everybody involved made it happen with their skills.
Yeah, dude.
Because it's not like a job where anybody who wants to do it can go and do it. It has to be done by the people who can do it right, that it works.
Yeah.
You know, like that doesn't happen at most jobs, especially like, you know, I worked in retail for a million years. It's like I literally got fired from a job where she was like, well, people sometimes are just numbers. I was like, what? Like, I got fired from a job one time for texting. And I was like, and she was like, she's like, it's just a shame because I really thought you were just like a rock star employee. I was like, I am a rock star employee. Texting while I'm on the clock does not somehow make me a bad employee.
It just makes me cool.
I broke an arbitrary rule. Like, it's, you know, whatever.
Like chewing gum in class. Like, you were a good student, bro.
Still getting A's, dude.
We're all artists and rebels. It just takes form. Sometimes as dick jokes, sometimes as a song. Sometimes
you just got to step outside of it, dude. Literally, I had one of those moments today. I was literally like, I woke up in the city, drove up here, got my kerosene, which I had left in my car overnight. So my whole car smelled like kerosene. I was like, oh my gosh. Drove up here, had Mike's podcast recording from 12 to 2. Got to meet Christine Furr, which is cool.
She's awesome.
And then immediately after that, Tink and Garrett came through and they were doing theirs and they had a fucking great podcast. And I was just sitting there through the midst of it, just like on the couch. And like, I don't talk on their podcast really. I mean, I chime in when I blurt something out. But like, I always have a mic in my hand. But like, I was just sitting there. I was like, this is dope. This is like kind of like, it's just like, I get to be a part of this thing, but I'm not. But it's like, it's happening because of this shit that like I did a long time ago, and it's like it's just like if somebody just dropped me in here right now, somebody was just like, somebody just dropped me in here right now, it would make no fucking sense. I'm like, dude, who are these people, and like what's going on, and like why am I just like sitting here?
This guy's named King.
I've had like 4 3-hour conversations today, like just like and then it's just like it just wouldn't make sense, but it's just like you don't see that shit happening. It's just all of a sudden every now and then I'll just zoom out and I'm like, What the fuck?
I do that all the time. I was talking to
Yeah.
Eric about that after the play tonight. I was like, sometimes you step back, you're like, what is my life? You know, it's
Yeah.
like, you know, being backstage before our last show tonight, it was just like, see all these people in these crazy costumes and working on these bits and, you know, working on these songs and just be like, all right, well, I guess I just produced, wrote, and directed a musical theater production.
Yeah.
Like, this is crazy, you
Yeah.
know? And I'm just like, you know, and at the end, they brought me out and they, like, made one of the song lyrics about me and they, like, thanked me and stuff. And it's just kind of crazy to think, like, well, not for nothing. Like, I did this damn thing. Like, I fucking made it happen, you know? And that's like... When does that get to happen in your life? When do you get to say, like, I had this like really stupid idea that I thought would be funny, and then you're like, oh, and then I did it.
Yeah, we did it.
And then everybody agreed.
Like 12 people do it. With
Yeah,
me.
yeah, I know a bunch of people do it, and then everybody
Yeah.
agreed. Like, that was stupid but cool, and it was very stupid. It was so
Yeah,
stupid.
but you made that theater some money.
and it was so funny, and it was just fun, and like, why the fuck not? But yeah, you step back and you're like, what is my life? Like, I went to Maine recently to do stand up, and it was really nice because they like flew me out, and I got a hotel and stuff. You know, it was like really nice, and I was just like, man, this is something
It's
I'm.
all because of dick jokes.
It's all because of dick jokes, you know. And they were so funny in Maine too. They're like, whatever you do, do not make a joke about Stephen King. Everybody loves him here. In Bangor, Maine. I'm like, okay, I wasn't gonna talk about Stephen King. Like, I wasn't like, just don't do it.
Just
like,
the one thing. You're like, N-word's cool? Yeah. N-word's
yeah, they
cool.
were like, you can talk about
N-words
anything.
don't.
It's a very open-minded crowd. You can talk about sex. You can talk about whatever. Like, they're not going to mind. They're like, just don't say anything bad about Stevie. I'm like, what the fuck? And I was waiting to meet, like, a really Maine person. Because, like, everyone I was meeting was just kind of like, you know, hey, good to meet you. I was like, oh, okay. And then, literally, we're at this event, and this guy comes up in the rain, and he's wearing, like, the yellow raincoat with, like,
Hell
this
yeah.
big woolly sweater
Fucking
under it.
thunderclaps
Like the Norton
and
fisherman.
fucking
Like, get the
lightning.
ruddy skin, you know, and he
Hell
comes out,
yeah.
he's got, like, a little bit of a facial scruff, and he comes up to me, and he just goes,
Your fucking thing on the chalkboard.
yeah. He literally just comes and he goes, oh, I was like,
Oh,
I'm pretty
God.
sure that was higher, but it's not like, I was like, yes, finally. And I just have to say, that town was tiny. That town is, first of all, it's the whitest place I've ever been. It was like,
Oh, yeah.
I was like, I think the Westboro Baptist Church is protesting this town. this is hella white. Even like the people who are like very liberal and like, because this event was for this like LGBT health center. I'm like, you all look super conservative. Like, you're all really, I mean, some were kind of freaky, but like a lot of people were very buttoned out, and that's just like the culture there. But it was really funny because like I'm there and like I get off the plane in the airport, and their little tiny airport, and the message is like, Karen, we have your toothbrush, Karen. You left it at the gate. We're going to give it to Steve. Steve's got your toothbrush. I'm like, is there only one Steve in this entire airport? Like, how is that possible? Everybody was like so nice, and like the hotel where they were making breakfast, they had like a special toaster that said gluten-free only on it, and they were like, this one is for the gluten-free only. We haven't had one yet, but just in case. Like, you guys are quaint as fuck. This is so cute. But it was just weird because I'm like, what is my life that I came to like this place to do stand-up for these people?
That's fucking awesome.
Okay. Whatever.
Fucking yellow raincoat. Eating a fucking clam and syrup sandwich. Just like,
in the breakfast place in the morning, so I had to go at like 6 in the morning, so I had to like get back on the road. Like, I was sitting there, and like this like people were coming in who like must be like living at the motel because they like knew them really well. And the one guy walks in, and she's like, "Hey, Timmy, did Bobby stay with you again last night? Is Bobby still over there?" And he goes, "No, he went home to his wife." I'm like eating my bagel, like, what are they talking about? I'm like, I want to know so
Hotel
much
drama.
more. Yeah, like, Timmy, you don't know me, but I would
What do
like
you
to know
guys
more
do?
about Bobby. And like the one guy who worked there, of course, he's like, oh, you're the entertainment. Oh yeah, I got a joke for you. And they're like, oh, Kip, he doesn't want to hear your jokes, and he's like, it's a short one. I'm like, this is so cute. I'm like, go ahead, Kip, tell me a joke.
Oh, yeah.
He's like, when I was little, my mother, she'd be in the kitchen baking something for dessert, and my father would come in and he'd go, "What's for dinner?" And she'd be like, I forgot to make dinner. I'm like, is that a joke? Is that just like, did your mother have early onset dementia? Is this how you're, if you want to process this by doing a stand-up set, I think you should do that. But I don't think that's a joke necessarily. I also just did stand-up at Johns Hopkins, and it was for their LGBT like stand-up club. They have a stand-up club, and like the LGBT members of it. And it was like this big like, in their like social club, I guess, like in Charles Village, and it was like a really good turnout, and all their friends came and everything. But it's one of those events where you're there as the comedian, and you know you're never going to do as well as anyone there who makes a reference to the thing that it is.
Right.
They're like, because I live in whatever house, and they're all like, boo boo, you know, and I'm like doing jokes that I'm like getting paid to do, and they're like, I don't know.
This morning I picked up my toothbrush from Steve.
Yeah.
God, let me tell you.
Well, at that event,
Karen was pissed.
At that event in Maine, like literally, it was very political because it was right before the election. So like people were like talking about all these like local races that I don't know anything about. They'd be like, because we got to get Jordan J. Josh out of office. They're like, yeah, we hate that guy. And I'm like,
he's using up all our first names.
I'm like, clap. Like, I don't know. Is that good or bad? You know? But then they would like make inside jokes. They'd be like, you know, guess we just should have waited and see if Becky could have brought another pie. And they're like, oh, Becky, yeah, she makes all those pies. And I'm like, is that Kip's mom? He's like,
oh, I forgot. No.
And then I was at the table with some people, you know, like they put me like the front thing with the like person who booked me. So I was like sitting there and I was like talking, and the whole time I was talking to her daughter, and I did not realize her daughter was in high school. Oh, no. And when I found it, because she looked older to me, and she looked like she was probably in her like early 20s. And as soon as she mentioned she was in high school, I just was like started to backtrack through everything I'd said to her. I'm like, oh no, did I offer to get her drunk? Oh God, what have I done? Like what have I talked to her about tonight? Shit. But it was weird doing that show at Johns Hopkins. The kids were like really young. I mean, they were like 19, 20 years old. And I was like, the one kid, he was really, it was his first time ever doing stand-up, and he was doing a bit about Grindr. And I was like, well, how old are you? And he's like, I'm 21. I was like, well, I've been out of the closet since you were -3 years old. And back then we didn't have Grindr. I just went to the same 7-Eleven every night for 9 months because I saw a dude that I thought like could be gay. I was like, I'm going back. That guy in that white t-shirt could come back. I don't know. I think we're in love. There's no way to find other gay people. That technology does not exist yet. I just gotta go and wait around and pretend like I'm shopping for nachos. He literally had a green Jeep and a tight white t-shirt on, and I just like looked at him and I was like, I think I just saw another gay person. Like, what? Oh my God. I was like 14 years old, and I was like, I'm just gonna keep going back, because if that's his 7-Eleven on the way home, he might stop there around the same time again to like get gas or get snacks.
Hell yeah.
Fucking moron.
Could have worked.
I know, right?
Could have worked, dude.
Yeah, it did not. Well, that's a weird thing too. Like there's even, I forget what movie it was. It's got like a bunch of people in it who are famous now. It was this movie that came out in the 90s that was about a guy who came out of the closet, and it was basically in the movie they do that where they're just like, this is Paul. He's also gay, and they like just kind of like shove them together, and they're just like, oh, you guys should be in love now, and like should have sex now, you know, like just get together. And it's like that. It was very that for a long time. Like I, for years, just got set up on dates because someone else knew a gay.
Oh,
person.
I have a gay friend.
Yeah, like, oh no, I got a friend. He lives in Liverpool.
Oh, I gotcha.
His name is Paul. It's really far away, but guess what? You guys are gonna meet. You guys are gonna be perfect. You guys are perfect for each other. Like, yeah, 'cause we're both alive. I guess we both live in the same state. I guess because then like when finally like. Because let's say, I think the first computer we had the internet was like 1997 in our house, like when I was a kid. So I was like 17, you know, and that was like, but there was nothing, like there was no way, but there was like this thing out.com, which was like a gay website, and they had personals on it, but you could put in like criteria. You could say like, oh, only Maryland. Ooh. And it would just be like every like posting from like a gay person, but they were always like so creepy. It was always like 53. I live in Hampstead. Yeah. I just want like somebody to come over and spend some time.
GPS like cash game to like find his fucking coordinates. Find like a little box that had a condom in it and directions to his fucking Motel 6.
It's nice to see that 21 years later, or however many years later, 18 years later, there's like
it's a good time to be
gay
gay
dude
now,
at Johns
dude.
Hopkins. Yeah, just doing his gay stand-up.
Hell
Like, good for you. I was like, and I told him I told him about Elizabeth's mic. I was like, please. I was like, because some of them never done open mics. Even the ones who do it, they just do it there. And I was like, please, we need queer representation in comedy. Like, go to the club out of town. It's a safe space for you. And then I was like, but if you are good and younger than me, I will push you down a flight of stairs. I'd be like, you ever seen the movie Showgirls? Like, make them fall. Like, no, but that's my thing. So just don't be good at it. Like, do it, but just for fun. But still be a doctor. I want to be the one that's good.
All right, well, you got anything to plug, dude?
Oh yeah, I do. Yes. Let me see. I do have things to plug that are in my calendar. Oh, this is the wrong calendar.
I'll drop my plugs in the meantime, dude.
Yeah.
Well, damn, this airhead is calling my name.
Dude, take
Fucking-
it. The white mystery.
I want to know what the white mystery is. I guarantee you it's raspberry.
It's different every time.
Oh, really? It's different every time?
Yeah.
Ooh, that really is a white mystery. Guys, every Sunday night, including 35 minutes from right now, I will be at the Horse You Came In On in Fells Point. That's from 10 to close every Sunday night. Saturday, November 24th, Black Saturday, if you will. I will be at the Point Towson, 9 to 1 a.m. with the band. I believe I'm playing with John Burkhart of Thunder Club and Will Beckman of Reagan Cats and various other musical projects. And then, of course, Tuesday, November 27th, anybody finding themselves in Timonium, I'm going to be at High Tops, 9 to 1 in the morning on a Tuesday night. It is as fun as it sounds. So I'll see you guys there.
December 1st, I'm going to be in New York at the comedy contest for the Yas Queen National Touring thing, where if I win, I get a residency there and I go on their tour. But they all seem to know each other, so I don't know if I'm going to win. I was like, I'm the one person who they do not already know. I'm like, they're probably not going to pick me, but I'm going to go, and I'll be in New York for a couple days, and I'll do some stand-up there. And then I'm at the Brewers Cask on the 4th of December, and then I'm at Charm City Comedy Project on the 8th for my birthday show, and I'm going to do Chit Chat, and my improv troupe Banana Phone's going to perform. And that's plenty. That's enough. I'll stop there.
Awesome. Well, I'm going to be in New York doing some work November 26th to 29th. So if anyone's up there,
yeah, I'll be there 28th, 29th. Yeah.
I'll try to make it up, dude. We'll make a fucking thing.
Yeah,
dude,
that
come
sounds
on.
good.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, because that's 28th is a Thursday,
so
right?
I got a dope. Oh, 29th is a Thursday.
20. That's
But I think I might
leaving.
be coming back. Yeah.
Thursday's a really good mic, Alligator Lounge, where you can go and you pay. You get a ticket for a drink, and you get a free little personal pan pizza they make from scratch, and you do time.
Nice.
It's really fun. It's in Brooklyn, I think. But yeah, it was really. We did it last time we were there. It was really fun.
Cool. And then December 8th, I'll be at the Second Saturday Shit Show at the Auto Bar.
Nice.
Come out for that. It's going to be a good time. A lot of good people on that lineup.
Yeah, dude.
Other than that,
Spoiler alert, white mystery this time was watermelon.
Ooh.
I hate candy watermelon, so Eric, you can have that. Guys, follow us on everything, LFTS Podcast. That's Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Google Play, Stitcher, iTunes, all the stuff. Shouts out to Laughable.
Yeah.
It's like a glossary for comedians. It's pretty cool. Check it out. I think it's
like
on Droid
a
now.
Rolodex of comedians you
Yeah.
can have on your phone and look at all the podcasts they do. But yeah, live from the studio and everything. Check us out next week. Peace.
Peace.
Classic song.
DJ turn me up, ladies get so jammed. I'ma sip Moscato, you don't even pay, and I'ma throw this money while you do it.